A Schoolgirl's Diary. After the 15th of January, no girl, whether big or little, shall go to school, otherwise you know what we can do, and the parents and the school principal will be responsible. That was the news that came over Radio Mullah in late December 2008. At first, I thought it was just one of his crazy pronouncements. It was the 21st century. How could one man stop more than 50,000 girls from going to school? I am a hopeful person. My friends may say too hopeful, maybe even a little crazy, but I simply did not believe that this man could stop us. School was our right. We debated his edict in class. Who will stop him? The other girls said. The Taliban have already blown up hundreds of schools and no one has done anything. We will, I said. We will call on our government to come and end this madness. The government? One girl said. The government can't even shut down Fazula's radio station. The debate went round and round. I didn't give in, but even to me my argument sounded a bit thin. One by one, girls stopped coming to school. Their fathers forbade them. Their brothers forbade them. Within days we had gone from 27 girls in our grade to 10. I was sad and frustrated, but also understood. In our culture, girls do not defy the males and their families. And I realized that the fathers and brothers and uncles who made my friends stay home were doing so out of concern for their safety. It was hard not to feel a bit depressed, sometimes. Not to feel as though the families who kept their girls at home were simply surrendering to Fazula. But whenever I'd catch myself giving in to feelings of defeat, I'd have one of my talks with God. Help us appreciate the school days that are left to us. God, give us the courage to fight even harder for more. School had been due to end the first week of January for our usual winter break, so my father decided to postpone the holiday. We would remain in classes through 14 January. That way we could squeeze in every minute left to us. And the 10 remaining girls in my class lingered in the courtyard every day after school in case these were our last chances to be together. At home in the evenings, I wondered what I would do with my life if I couldn't go to school. One of the girls at school had gotten married off before Fazula's edict. She was 12. I knew my parents wouldn't do that to me, but I wondered, what would I do? Spend the rest of my life indoors, out of sight, with no TV to watch and no books to read? How would I complete my studies and become a doctor, which was my greatest hope at this time? I played with my shoebox dolls and thought, the Taliban want to turn the girls of Pakistan into identical lifeless dolls. While we girls savored the days until January 15, Fazula struck again and again. The previous year had been hard, but the days of January 2009 were among the darkest of our lives. Every morning someone arrived at school with a story about another killing, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 a night. Fazula's men killed a woman in Mingora because they said she was doing fahashi, or being indecent, because she was a dancer. And they killed a man in the valley because he refused to wear his pants short the way the Taliban did. And now we would be forbidden from doing school? One afternoon I heard my father on the phone. All the teachers have refused, he said. They are too afraid, but I will see what I can do. He hung up and rushed out of the house. A friend who worked at the BBC, the powerful British Broadcasting Corporation network, had asked him to find someone from the school to write a diary about life under the Taliban for its Urdu website. A teacher or an older student. All the teachers had said no, but Miriam's younger sister, Aisha, one of the older girls, had agreed. The next day we had a visitor, Aisha's father. He would not allow his daughter to tell her story. It's too risky, he said. My father didn't argue with him. The Taliban were cruel, but even they wouldn't hurt a child, he wanted to say. But he respected Aisha's father's decision and prepared to call the BBC with the bad news. I was only 11, but I said, why not me? I knew he'd wanted someone older, not a child. I looked at my father's hopeful, nervous face. He had been so brave for speaking out. It was one thing to talk to national and local media, but this diary might be read by people outside of Pakistan. It was the BBC, after all. My father had always stood by me. Could I stand by him? I knew without even thinking that I could. I would do anything to be able to continue going to school. But first we went to my mother.